me miss anything, I will be sharing my screen in a minute, but yeah, I'm really excited for this momentum that's building within them, and honestly, other people that have joined in that are like, it's been a long time since I've really done this test of start today. And it's not, I really wanted to emphasize that it's not about perfection. I mean, yes, of course we're aiming for 95% compliance. But what I'm really, really wanting more than anything is for you to finish. So if that means that there's 7 days of complete off-plan meals, wouldn't you rather than know definitively that then the issue really stems from follow through and having someone like tell you that as a coach, like, hey, now that we've seen the 28 days, listen, this is don't go to shame, but what we're seeing based on this data is every day at evening, you're caving. And so over the 12 weeks or whatever we're assessing, right? And those just really right now, we're just assessing 2 weeks at a time. Like we saw that, out of 45 meals, 17 of them were off plan for whatever reason. And just seeing it as data and not like I'm a horrible person, it's like that doesn't solve anything. It's going, what is it that I pick the foods I like? I like these things, right? Like, why? Is it because I'm really sucking at structure and timing? Am I not stopping and prioritizing myself? Like, I mean, there's so many things. So why not go through the full 28 days? So if you are someone that, you've been in the group and you haven't done this, go back to testing. And it doesn't even have to be testing the deficit. Maybe you're at maintenance. There's several ladies that are right now currently testing their maintenance. They're using it as their starting point to actually either go up, or one lady, she's already there. She's just going to test that. So just keep that in mind. So today and I'll get to questions too. I'll have to go look in the group. I forgot that we have that. But today I really wanted to talk about the importance of meal planning, and I'll be completely upfront in saying that this is not something that I always saw a need for with clients, and it's not something that I always felt like should be mandatory. Okay. I felt like you do you, we give you the plan. However, I would not be doing you a justice if I didn't share with you this tool, because the success rate of clients that do this piece every week is much higher. Now, I have a bestie that's, one of my best friends is a fitness coach, and we, meet periodically. We text all the time, but we try to meet, at least, maybe once a month or every 6 weeks or something to just at least talk about business. And, she's been doing this for a few years, so she loves to hear a lot of like the experience I've had over the years. Like when I first met her, I told her, you got to have dietary adherence, make them track meal to meal. I'm like, don't let them self-assess and say that X or Y. And she was like, really? Don't you think it's hyper tracking? I go, you got to know. And we're all going to underreport. Like we just are. So that was like one of the first things I said to her. Well, one of the things that she brought to me recently was that she requires every client before they start like that first week, even with just like food subbing options, is that they have to do a full week's of meal planning, and that they have to submit it to her and show her that they've done that. And of course, she's not going to require forever, but she's hoping that periodically when she asks them, hey, send me your weekly meal plan, that it starts to teach them that if they just sit down and do this little step, it frees up so much decision fatigue later in the week. So I don't know. I mean, some of you are empty nesters. Some of you have, younger children. I have children from 26 to 14. So I could technically be an empty nest, and then I had a surprise Leilani. So I see both in that, I just lost my train of thought with this, with the meal. Hold on, it'll come back to me. Wow, I totally lost it, guys. Sorry. Let me think. Why was it a difference between my younger and older? My brain doesn't work the same, you guys. It'll come back to me. But I didn't see like this was such a need, but I will say, oh, I know what it is. It's a trigger for me with mine are in high school, and so they're totally capable of fixing food for themselves. But hey, I mean, I want to be a good example, and really it's what you show your children and not necessarily what you say. So we started to get into this habit of doing the weekly meal planning. And it's because I get so annoyed by the what's for dinner, what's for dinner, what's for dinner. And while I know we're really responsible for ourselves, I mean, I do believe we're responsible for families. And I'll say I apologize to every client of mine that had me as a coach 10 plus years ago, where I would say, you know what? I mean, I just eat separate from my kids. Like, you know what? Just don't inconvenience them. Oh my gosh, if I could take that back and be like, no, try to teach them at a young age that nothing really changes. Like, try to remember that we're just a diet, a deficit is just your meals packaged in less food. Maintenance is just more of that. Yes, we'll stop weighing things, but the lifestyle has to be there, ladies. Like meal planning needs to be something forever in your life. Grocery shopping, meal prep, like this is stuff that actually just keeps you healthy. Never mind like fat loss. Fat loss is going to take you weighing and really watching it. But maintenance, as we see just based on society, does not happen anymore just by meal prep. It even maintenance takes like intention because the world is designed with these highly palatable, calorically dense foods that we're now working more than ever. We're sitting at our desks, we're like totally distracted. Like it is harder than ever. It's why the average person is heavier. It's why, I could go on forever. Anyways, that's all to still convince you that this little tool is going to help you throughout your week. And so if you just it's kind of like balancing like you take your money and you allocate it everywhere. It might take a little bit to do it, but once you've had it done, it's like, oh, feels so good. So everyone's going to have access to this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to share, like, I'm going to stop the share on this and I'm going to share my full screen because what I want to do is I'm going to take you through honestly, meal by meal, day by day, how I would first do my first 2 weeks, meaning like this is when you only are allowed to do the simple subs. Hopefully, you understand by now this isn't because I want to control you, it's because I want to control the numbers the most. And I want you just to not have that decision fatigue. Set it and forget it. Okay. So if I was going through it here just as my first 2 weeks, I am looking at my two templates. Hopefully I've already put two options at each meal. If I haven't, as I can see on this one here, like I have the amount of calories that it's going to be, but I would want to go in and actually make a second option in there in the food sub calculator to make sure that I had something more than chicken breast. And that was on my off day one. So you're going to have a blank one. I started to go through, and I'm going to rewind it here. Let's just go back through and we will start at day one and then I'll go live for the rest of it. So I'm just going to start with my morning meal. I like to go meal by meal, not like go through my whole day. I like to actually go, okay, meal one for the whole week. What am I doing? Meal two. Now, let me preface this. My way is not the only way. I've learned something in personal development that it is like there's not a one size all approach. So you may hear from Carol, Coach Carol, that she may do something completely different. This is where you want to take all of the things that Eric and I have very different approaches a lot of times, even on food. Whoops, I gotta share my full screen. And in terms of like approach, that's okay. Those are opinions and we take those. There's actually a question today in the group that someone posted that when I answer it, I will love to see Eric also answer that exact same question. So hopefully you see my full screen. Okay. So you're going to see that I've got the meal planner over here. And as I said, I like to actually go just day, like one meal, go all the way down. So if I'm looking at my training day and my off day, I'll typically go through and do my training day first. So if you're on the 3-day track, you're going to be doing, the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or however you set it up. So I want to keep it pretty simple. I'll talk you through it once they're all up in here because I actually worked on this this morning. So I'm going to put in here that I'm going to have eggs. I'm going to have the oats on that Monday and I put berries for my fruit. Sometimes even the specificity just makes your brain feel a little bit better about variety. You're going to see later in the week, I put eggs, oats, and banana. On another day, I put the eggs, oats, and berries, but it's just something that is a little bit different. And let me make this a little bit bigger, guys, so you can see it. My eyes aren't great. And then on my Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, I actually decided to have the eggs and my English muffin. And for the fruit, I'm going to use jam. And so I put that on there. And I just got thinking, I could totally sub the eggs too and do like a yogurt one morning. But this week, it just happened to be a week that I just decided I wanted to do eggs. But you certainly could have chose like some of those days, do like a parfait And like for the protein, in fact, you know what? I'm gonna just change that. Saturday, I'm home. Like let's just pretend I work all week. I want to have like I'm gonna do a Greek yogurt parfait. If it was the first 2 weeks, I'd have to keep to these simple subs. But second 2 weeks, I'd probably be putting in here granola. But let's say if you put granola as one of your first little subs on here, because remember, granola just subs as that carb, I'd be putting that in there. So now I've got my meals for meal one done. Then I'm going to go on to my post-workout. Now, everybody can do their, oops. Okay, how am I gonna, that might mess up my next one. So meal two, it's my post-workout. I'm first going to come through and just write on here again, maybe just like the simple post-workout. I may even take it a step further because I usually just always do a shake and I have like a handful of carbs that I use. So I might write on here the carb that I'm using. This just can help with my grocery list because remember, you can put these kinds of things inside your chat GPT and have it make your grocery list based on your meal plan. So like I might put on here, bagel as my post-workout, um, you know, cereal, uh, my skinny cow ice cream. The other power in putting these things in here is it reminds you of some of the variety you get to have. So when you're having a little tissy fit on a Tuesday night that you really want to have a skinny cow ice cream, you remind yourself, you know what? I get that on Friday. I have it on the plan. I get to enjoy it. No guilt. Yay. Okay. Then I'm going to go look on my off days and this person, and I just took a client's, I just literally took someone's template and just, screenshot it. So she has on here that she either has obviously a protein shake or Greek yogurt, 1.5 servings of fruit because she really wanted to just be able to have a medium apple, which is roughly around 90 calories. Or she already has a sub on here of a protein bar and a beef stick. So I'm going to come through and I'm going to put that I want to have the protein shake. I want to have actually the yogurt during the week because I'm at work and I do have access to my tub there or whatever your reasoning is. Or hey, maybe you're the opposite. You know what? It's shakes all week with the fruit, because in the office. And then on the weekends, I'm going to do the yogurt. And then on Sunday, I'm actually going to do the Bear Bell bar plus beef stick. Okay. I'm going to go back up to the yogurt and I'm going to add what I'm going to have since it said you could have just like, I'm going to do a berry medley. Okay. I spelled that wrong, but maybe it will tell. Oh, maybe it didn't. Okay. Then I'm going to move on. Now, I usually will, I typically, if I already am access to the meal cards and I'm already at like the 2 week point, I like to leave my meat meals. I call them my meat meals for last because that's when I actually will grab my little box here and I'll go through my meal cards and select them like that. But in the first 2 weeks, remember, we're just trying to keep it simple. And again, like if you're just subbing like let's say you only have chicken and like ground turkey listed on here as your template. In the first 2 weeks, I mean, it is totally fine to go sub out for your ground turkey or like we're just not wanting you to get too sloppy. Like just keep it simple for simple. Don't be too strict on the rules that you miss the trees for the forest. You know what I mean? Or maybe it's the forest for the trees. Whatever it is, it's like don't miss that. Okay, so then let's go to her let's go to meal. Let's skip meal 3 for now because I'm going to show you how to do it first 2 weeks, and then I'm going to show you with meal cards. But let's go on to meal 4 because that seems to be one again where this is like I don't want to call it a snacky meal, but I call them non-meat meals where they're a bit smaller. These are ones that once you hit the 2 week point, I find it very important to get a lot of different teeny tiny changes to those cards to make Greek yogurt or cottage cheese or things like that just feel more exciting. So we're going to go through on our training days or the Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And on that day, she's going to be having the cottage cheese avocado toast. As you can see, she gets a slice of bread there. So I'm just going to take that. I'm going to copy it onto, because I just find that for the first, I want to keep it simple. On her opposite days, if I look down here, it's pretty similar in terms of calories. She gets a little bit more, but she's going to do the Greek yogurt. with butter on bread because she doesn't want to do the avocado every day. I love how I'm speaking for her. Okay, and we'll repeat that again. And it doesn't have to be repeated. I mean, she could have put one other option there, but she really liked the bread, but I would have probably put some other carbs. So it's like a rice cake, a pretzel. I mean, you can do that. Just match the calories, make sure you really know it. And, I'm fine with that. It's not to, I never want people to think this is because I want like to hinder you. It's that we've just seen over time, like I'll have a client come back to their first, oh, we'll go back to pretend like it's your first 2 weeks, simple subs, that's it. And they drop, they see results. Maybe it's their laser focus, whatever it may be, it works. And then I'm going to put that here and I'm going to put that here. But let's say she put another one. I might do a Greek yogurt granola here because I know I could sub that 110 calories. And then actually I could even put, oh gosh, I could just put 45 calories worth of like peanut butter or some sort of fat source on it. So I might just put that on it. Okay. Now we're pretty much oh, that should have been meal 3, you guys. Oh, hopefully you understand. Let's just, you know what? I can't, I gotta do it. I gotta let y'all, we gotta do it the right way. Dang it. I try. And I wanted to purposely I mean, I hope you don't feel like this is a waste of your time because I'm doing it live, but sometimes y'all need to just see like what the thought process is, how long it's really, I mean, it's not even going to take you this long. It won't take you long. And as a mom, it's caused way less fights in the family. And I'll tell you what, the meals that they choose now, I find that I show up for them more. And I mean show up meaning like I'm willing to like put forth a little more effort towards the veggies because I've already seen what they want like days ahead of time. And I'm cool with that. I'm like, okay, it's like Big Mac taco night where I have to make the tortillas from scratch. It's all good. It's all good. Versus them telling me that, can we please have Big Mac tacos? I do it, but I'm just a freaking biatch about it. I'm just being honest. Like I'm not a good person in that way. But anyways, so okay. So we've fixed that. Now we've got everything but the meat meals. Now, of course, in those first couple weeks, we're keeping it pretty simple. You're probably not naming your meals yet. In terms of like how I like to name mine in my to make them feel like they're more of a recipe, which really they're not. But so we're going to go through now. This person has a 400-calorie lunch meal and a 500-calorie dinner meal. So if you've passed the 2 weeks, like we're going to have a great amount of meal cards already at her disposal once we hit the 2 weeks. But in those first 2 weeks, we're going to come through, and the key is set it and forget it. Also, kind of look at your week to go, okay, well, and I'm not looking at amounts anymore. You're trying to see food items. Okay, well, I want to have chicken Monday. I'll do chicken again Wednesday. And I'll probably do, let's see, Saturday night, my kids like to do burgers. So I'm going to do ground beef that night. Sunday is going to be my pork tenderloin. Notice I'm not even looking at I already know that I'm simple proteins first, right? Then I might come through. I mean, I got to finish this up. I typically do, we'll put this here. Whatever beef I choose. I'm not really, let's see that you're going to do shrimp. Actually, I'm choosing shrimp for lunch on, this day I might do, actually, I'm going to switch this, do a tuna wrap on that day. So anyway, so I've got that down, and then I'm going to pause here and do that because I want to kind of see the proteins I'm choosing there so that then, I mean, and it's up to you. Like some people are honestly like, you know what, chicken all day long. Like my daughter eats like 14 foods. If I can have success with her and have her, like, then you can too. But it is then, you're going to notice in a minute, what I'm really going to do to make some variety is not the protein source and not even necessarily the carb. It's starting to change up a little bit of the fats, especially during those first 2 weeks when maybe you are just really, you don't like feeling like you're set in something. So I'm going to probably do the opposite here. Maybe if they've put on here, I don't think she had even salmon. She really didn't give me, she likes a lot of chicken. I did know that. But it can be something as simple as we're doing a rotisserie. Actually, we would, I'd probably do chicken here. And then my Wednesday night, kids' youth night, I'd have a rotisserie. Let's see, I bought tuna twice that week, so I'd probably do another chicken again, but prep it a little bit different. Again, I haven't even put, like maybe I'll put shredded shrimp here. Saturday night, I'm gonna do a ground beef bowl, but I'm gonna do a burger that night with the kids, but I think I'll do turkey burgers. So we'll put ground turkey. And then whatever I'm having that night, I'm probably gonna, okay. So I've gone through and I've, taken at least the proteins. And then I see on here, she likes potatoes, quinoa, white rice. Down here, russet potatoes. She does like sweet potatoes too. She likes these Alexia, the tater tots. So we've got at least like 4 to 5 carbs that then you're just going to come in and do the same thing. You're just going to kind of plug and play with those, carbs in terms of like, okay, today with the chicken, I'm at work. So like one of the things she's got the 160. So, and that was for her tortillas. So let's just say on this day, it's chicken and it's the chicken tacos even. Chicken tacos. And she's got a fat source with, where did I go? Chicken tacos with cheese. Okay. And I may just for, again, I'm going to go back through, this is like a meal 3 that's a lunch. So I don't even have another day that's got lunch, but I may just put it in here because I like that. I'm going to have it twice. Okay. Then, coming back through, she did have like, we could sub it with a beef and she could do potatoes. So we could do beef and potatoes. And on this day, she's going to do butter. But on the other day, she wants to do beef and potatoes. And instead of using butter on it, she's actually going to take that and do a salad. Okay. Oh, I know why I kept a tuna. Because the tuna wrap will take her 2 tortillas that total the 160. And then she'll, have cheese with it. And then on this night, she's gonna do beef and the tots. And she only gets like, and whatever, some butter or cheese. We'll give more cheese. Okay. And then you would basically do the same thing. All right. Everybody so far, like making sense, not too overwhelming. Let me pause for a minute so I'm not talking so much. How many of you do a meal plan every week? Like, do you lay out your meals or are you going by how many days? Let's talk about that. How many days do you actually prep in advance? Anyone? No, we're silent.
So Amy, I will cook my ground beef. I will cook my ground turkey. On a good day, I might even do my chicken tenders or my chicken breast, and I'll do my rice. But
Okay.
this is my first week starting, and I feel like I'm cooking all the meals at each meal time. So
So
I
guys,
love this spreadsheet.
this will help you because I both prep like you and I think that's important. Like I said to Eric, I'm like, man, I should take because it was his day to do the weekly live. And I said, let me take it over because not only did I want to talk about planning out your planning out your meals, it's like having a system that you're not constantly in your kitchen, but there's also and it's an art. Like I've learned that like I have 2 days that it's like a bigger prep. And by bigger prep, I mean like 35 minutes where it's like some proteins and carbs. But then I've also learned, and this is where when you start to see your kitchen as a business and like you're trying to be in charge of this business, it's like, okay, I'm cooking eggs and I'll look on my meal plan. Okay, I have eggs every morning. So 2 of those days while I'm cooking my eggs, I can do like a simple carb, or maybe it's a stack up of maybe I need more beef. We ran out on day 2, but it's typically not like another big, huge day of like vegetable prep. And I tell myself, like, if I end up like going to the grocery store like 4 times in a week, that's a failure on my part to not one meal plan and not like really go through that list. I mean, we just save money by not even going that often, right? We'll save more money, honestly. Like when people first started, I'm like, this is a lot of food and this was a lot of money when I went because we're buying sometimes better quality products. But I'll promise you, when you start like measuring and weighing and you stop buying all the junk, like you really just go buy what you really need, you find that you won't be spending as much, like, but treat it like a business and like a system where I didn't pay as much attention, but when I was trying to look at this, a lot of times in my house, if I do chicken for dinner, I'm already knowing that the next day that's going to be like what I plan for lunches. So because we're going to have some left over and then that's going to be my lunch and sometimes enough for me and Eric to have our lunches. And I kind of bank on that. Like yesterday I made 6 breast. I knew that they would probably eat about 4 of them that were in the crock pot and I was hoping that 2 would be left, right? For us to then have. So it's not like, again, you're not cooking every day. And that was just my shredded chicken. I tend to have like some shredded and some other, and then I've always got the option of like the emergency rotisserie, or if it's like again, building a system. Wednesday night is youth night. So I mean, they go to youth night at church, our kids. So it's either like, well, Eric likes to do either burgers or like something like a rotisserie would be super easy because we just try and then I just implement it in, right? So Cindy, you said I prep Sunday with a plan, but only cook a couple dinners on Sunday, but prep breakfast Monday through Friday. We shop once a week, but we'll cook as needed. That's awesome to shop. My goal is once a week. My family, I'm starting to learn. Like I said this to a client yesterday. I just learned. So like Christian eats a tuna wrap every day, or not every day, but a wrap of some sort. So does Eric. So at minimum, I'm going through 4 tortillas per day. So why would I ever go to the store and buy less than like 3 packages, knowing that meaning like I'm already expecting to go back more than one time in the week. But sometimes it like means creating a system and like looking at, data of like, this is what we bought last week. This is how long it lasts us. Like I would do it with my money. I don't know why I haven't thought of that years before with my kitchen and how like seeing it as like a business that I can, really be in charge of. Patty, I create dinners that allow me to feed myself and my husband and son lunches on the next day. So my goal is to get to the point where I can plan it well enough where if everyone wanted it the next day, they could, because I will find, I mean, being honest, like we homeschool. And so we have 3 high schoolers right now. They freaking eat so much food. And it's pretty annoying when I go into the kitchen and like I swear I just made, chicken like the day before and then there's nothing left for me. So I'm just learning. Again, I'm trying to see this as feedback to be like, all right, this is what we're kind of eating and getting a system for your family because we're not doing them any service if we're teaching them totally opposite of what we do. Like, hey, don't do like we do, just eat your chicken nuggets and whatever. Versus like, hey guys, like let's do some meal planning. So now let me show you, basically, I'm just gonna erase some of these and we are just gonna go through those meat meals again, but with meal cards. And you can have meal cards for all your meals. I just want to show for example sakes, the meat meals are the easiest because they're ones that I've created for you guys. So now let's say that let me stop that share and let me get the 400 calorie. Do 100. Let me open this in a new window. So the 500 calorie were her dinners. Okay, so we will come back to that meal plan, share my screen, my desktop. Okay, so now you should see, everybody see 500 calorie meal cards on one side, and now we see my plan. Now, I have most of these already in my database. Like I have them based on calorie amounts, sometimes based on meal number, but for the most part, I really now just, I mix and match my lunches and dinners. I just follow the 500. So I don't have it listed on meals, but I will be going through this. I do the same exact system with my children. I just give them this, which is just a weekly meal planner. I give them this box and I tell them to pick out the meal. So it's kind of like cured my dinners that my family actually chooses the dinners for us. I then create the meal cards based on that because I then don't have to think about it anymore. And then lunches are just up to me. So 500 calorie meal cards, honestly, first time going through it, just see what catches your eye. And then, of course, as you know, at the top here, there's just a couple requirements. One, it needs to be within 5 calories of the ones on yours. Well, if you're following templates, I've built all the ones that I have changed lately, I've put them to 400 or to 500. So if you see some on yours that are close to that, do some shifts. Like if you have one that's at like 420, maybe move 20 calories elsewhere so that you have access to this, or maybe try to find a way to structure those calorie windows so that you could utilize mine. Because I will tell you this, one of my missions in this group moving forward is I truly believe the meal card method is the way to go. So my databases are going to become massive. I want a huge 400 calorie database. I've built like the 350, it's tiny right now, but it will only get bigger with time. The 450, the 500, because I want this to become a way of life for you. So then once you see that, the only other thing that you need to match is 80% of the protein that's listed on your original meal plan. Now remember, that number that you have listed on your meal plan is not just the protein that's from the protein source in your meal, it's the total protein. That's why I say 80%, because if someone was to tomorrow go through and sub everything out at the 80%, I still know that you're meeting the protein requirements that I want you to hit. So that's why the 80% is important. And what you could do just permanently is go through your meal plan and write the 80% in a different color, like blue or red, so that you already know what that threshold is. So that when you then scroll through my recipes, I'll be honest, most of mine are very high protein, so you probably don't have to worry. I mean, they're like 46 grams of protein. Most of you are not going to need that much. I built them that late, but it's not to say as you get down to the bottom here and you are out and about with a protein bar, some of these are, let me come back, like, well, this is 51. Oh, wait, let's go down here. 29 grams of protein. Okay. So, these are ones where I'm like, man, I just really want to have, like, I have one in here that's like a protein bar, or it's like a protein shake with a peanut butter and jelly. I literally just wanted a peanut butter and jelly, and I just wanted to hit the minimum protein so that I could put it all calories in my sandwich. So you'll see some of these are lower protein, but some not. But Chick-fil-A options, all that. Well, I'm going to go through, and the ones that I know for certain, like, I'm like, you know what? Friday night, my kids would love the Chick-fil-A night. It is sports night, so I'm just going to go ahead and put that on here. Saturday night, I already said we're doing burgers. So if there's not, if I haven't created a meal card for it yet, I'm gonna come through and, put that on there. And again, but if you're just using mine, I mean, let's go back through. Okay, for dinner, I'm for sure gonna do like the steak, and on Sunday, actually, we'll do a baked potato bar. So I'm gonna do steak and cheesy potatoes. So remember, this is just steak, potatoes, and cheese. But your brain sees something different. It doesn't see all these numbers and macros and the diet and the rigidity. It sees, oh, we're having a baked potato bar and having steak with it, right? Like it just feels different. Um, and again, you're just going to come through and do it with everything. I typically like to repeat, maybe not dinner because my kids choose dinner, but if I was coming through and I would do the same exact thing, but using the 400 calorie meal cards. In fact, let me put it in drive. Let's get that one out. Let's say I was using, and hopefully you'll start creating your own. But let's say then for lunch, I'm going to do 400 calorie meal cards. I would probably do some repeating ones where, you know what, like Wednesday and Friday, I'll do fries supreme. Like I'm not a big person personally on like every day needs to be different. For dinner, I totally understand because my kids, they plan it. I probably would be okay with some of the same things. This week, I'm on that cottage cheese low carb, bowl that I made. I've literally made it every day. I personally have had a breakfast sandwich for, I think I'm going on like 65 days straight. I'll probably stop that when I don't want that, but that just seems to be one in my rotation. But you don't have to ever, have a ton of variety, but by all means, do it. Like I might put in here, oh, here's, a sausage breakfast bowl. And something like this, when I'm looking at this is one I definitely want to make more than once. It's one of those recipes that multiplied would be super, super easy. So already looking at that, and I would be prepping my lunches, I'd probably put that on there for like maybe even all of the days I go to work that week, maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But Point being, I'm gonna put that on there, so it's, okay, I've got this sausage breakfast bowl. I'm gonna repeat that on my Friday. So hey, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then I'd probably even prep those on Monday, put them in the freezer, like whatever it may be. Again, it's like really based on your lifestyle. Like I work at home, so bulk prep just makes sense for me because I don't need to have it all prepped all in a row. I like to have like the variety ready to, at my disposal. For someone else, it's like planning every single thing out. But hopefully you've at least seen the power of getting through and, planning out. Now we've got pretty much your whole, we could have finished this up, but we'll finish up this all in here. One, it starts to show you your variety. Hey, I've got Chick-fil-A, I've got burgers, I'm having steak and cheesy potatoes. Maybe I'll do chicken tacos twice just because like our family, we do, there's not a week that we don't probably have tacos twice, or maybe I'll do beef once this day, but just like small changes. Monday night we'll do chili. Um, oh, actually, you know what? Wednesday will be chili because it's on that night like that one. Maybe this night it's my crock pot chicken, but again, I'm like thinking of my, for them, they just kind of open it up and go, okay, well, what does mom have in here? Oh, I mean, sometimes they, I have like a turkey sandwich with a yogurt cup. And if they pick that even for dinner, I'm like, all right, we're doing it. Gives them a lot of that ownership in there. And also, like I said, it makes me not have that decision fatigue. And then you set it and forget it. It doesn't mean that if you want to change your mind or if something comes up that you want to sub it out, you can't. But there's just, again, so much power in seeing like, okay, I've already planned it out for all the week. So I'm never going to make this like, well, I can't say never. In the group, I'm not going to make it mandatory. It's not to say that with my clients, I would say that clients that struggle with compliance, clients that struggle with consistency, this might be something that I'm like, all right, for the next few weeks, your homework is you got to give me your weekly meal plan and watch them see the difference in that. So just keep that in mind. It's just a tool at your disposal. And if you find that you are someone that struggles with compliance and struggles with, like the decision fatigue around meals or feeling really like, oh, I'm so boxed in, do this exercise. Put in the fun things that you like. Remind yourself you get to have it. I mean, this isn't my meal plan, and I already remember that I'm having a skinny cow this week, and I'm having Chick-fil-A, and I'm having burgers. Like, are you joking? This is like my fat loss diet. Like, that's awesome. But it's all in how you see it. Like, I used to see this is why I'm anti-macro. I felt like I was constantly in my Fitness Pal type. We didn't have my Fitness Pal back then, but it was like a my Fitness Pal. And I just felt like I was just obsessed with numbers. It made me not enjoy my food. I didn't even see my food like as a taco. I just saw it as like, this is 86 grams of chicken. And I don't want you to see it that way because here's the thing on the other side of dieting, once you rebuild that, your metabolism back up to maintenance calories, then you start to create meal cards, what I call for like your life. Like, and you can still do that now. Like, I'll be honest, my lunch and dinner have never changed. You know that I have, even when I have gone down to like low cal, I have kept 500-calorie meals. I would rather have EAAs for breakfast and keep that there or a half a scoop of protein powder personally, because I have always learned that the name of the game is consistency. I love my dinner. I love calories at night. I love calories in my Ninja Creamy, and I don't want to be told I can't have it. So I have always created mine around that. And so it's important to really see this as a lifestyle because eventually you won't weigh this. Like I don't weigh my beef and chicken at my tacos anymore. I'm at maintenance. I just don't. Now, do I weigh my nuts still? I do. It's just a too risky of a thing. It doesn't bother me. I see it as me having more empowerment. But now that these have become recipes in my life, and I've earned it. If you didn't see my post on Monday about intuitive eating, I had to earn that. I had to weigh out my chili several times over my lifestyle lifespan to know what on-plan chili should look like. Like when my clients get to maintenance, I make them take pictures of maintenance calorie food volume on their plate. Take a picture of your chicken and rice. I tell them you're going to delete this in a week, but the power of taking the picture, scanning what those amounts should now look like at maintenance so that you get familiar. So when you go out to a restaurant and they serve you a 400-gram russet potato, you don't tell yourself it's clean. It's still 400 grams of a russet potato. Like, we got to get over the fact that like the cleaning and not like stop, like it's still calories, right? And we got to be aware of those volume amounts. Not, I mean, maybe you want to, it's worth it and, and build it into your calories. But my point is you want to be aware of just your volume and like what you're having. So let me look at, there was a couple questions in the group. I did okay on time. I didn't want to like talk your ear off. Okay, where are the questions? How does that get like lost in the group? This is the thing with this. Okay, let's say not most relevant. Let's say recent activity. Can't find my own thread. Okay, here we go. So one of them was, okay, this is the one that I wondered what Eric would say. Okay, Paula, she said, question on vacation. I'm leaving Sunday for a week. Our rental is not close to the gym. Are there modifications for the current program I can do using bands? One, yes, because there are a lot of home, there's a lot of clients at home that if they don't have a cable system, they are using their bands, right, as some of those cable movements. So one, yes, there are substitutions. Um, at home, I mean, you're going to be limited if you don't have anything more than bands. So I take an approach on vacation a bit differently. Now, if I was vacationing regularly, like my client Leah, that is honestly on vacation like every other month, no, I tell her that when she gets to a place, she needs to kind of look for a gym because she's gonna, lose some ground with constantly going on. I mean, she's gone for a few weeks at a time, right? So, for her, I might give her different advice. For me, when I go to Mexico, if my resort didn't have a gym, I might pack some bands. I'm just being completely honest with you. Instead, I anchor my walking. I might if I want some blood flow. There's been a couple times where I've taken bands, and what I've done on those days is I go through the app and I'm like, oh, okay, today was like shoulders, back. Like I would see the body part, and I would just look at the subs for bands and just honestly get a pump, get enough blood flow in. You're not going to get like, enough tension necessarily to really make it, matter. But it's more about anchoring that lifestyle for yourself. When I went to Turkey last year, I was gone like 12 days. So I did have every intention of training, and I even packed bands, and I got in the group, and on like day 2, I think I did a post and I'm like, yeah, it's not happening. And you know what? It's because I'm with family, and every morning it's anxiety for me to try to go find the gym, do that, when really what I needed to do is just do a walk, center myself so that my decisions I made during the day around food were way more or less like frantically from other stressors. So that answer is, I know, so nuanced, and hopefully that just gives you a little bit of like insight. It's totally doable. You can go through, I mean, of course, when it gets to like, you'd be do a lot of repetition with say like a goblets type squat, maybe some Bulgarians. You're gonna have to do some body weight stuff when you're looking at kind of just body part by body part, and just remind yourself like nothing, is going to be erased in a week. What's more important is aligning and anchoring your identity. So if working out is something that aligns you to that, great. For me, when I'm on vacation, what actually aligns me more so is a walk and drinking. I always like pack my protein, and I just try to anchor that to my healthy self. I find the gym sometimes, if like I said, it's stressed me out, it's made me feel like I am the person that's pulled. And then I find that that overall then stress has just made me, I mean, I was just grouchy the first couple days, and I had planned to like, I'd packed all these bands, I was going to film stuff for the group. And then I was like, yeah, y'all, no, it's not happening. And let me just teach you a little bit about having the balance here with the lifestyle. But like I said, if it's a regular thing for you, you got to build in a regular system for you. So hopefully that helped, Paula. I'm glad you're on the call. Um, Stephanie, for someone who is really trying to change the old wiring and old mindset, what would be your top 3 suggestions of things to do, such as DACs, anchoring every single day to keep the mindset moving in the right direction? Okay, this was my favorite question because this is an area like just with And those of you that don't know, if you're new to our, ecosystem, it's not something I always bring up, but I have been battling stage 4 non-small cell cancer for, man, I'm going to get emotional today because it's been an emotional couple days. But I've been battling it for over 12 years. And so when I first got cancer, I didn't know how to handle my emotions or the mindset around it, and it affected everything. I couldn't focus. I couldn't wake up without feeling a lot of panic, anxiety. So I pretty much like made it my mission, not really intentionally, I'll be honest, at first. It was just like accidentally out of just like survival that I needed to learn to, whether it be compartmentalize or rewire my actual beliefs and thoughts about myself. Like that all came just by force. Um, I started for myself, I will say that between the DACs and anchoring, and by anchoring, I mean, and you'd have to go listen to, I think it's episode 4 on my podcast. It's the one that I have with Ed Milet. And it is all about like anchoring situations, anchoring feelings to change your state. So if you've listened to Ed Milet or Tony Robbins, they talk about this in learning to like change your state, because you can be feeling really panicky about, like, we have the power to change that quickly, just like that you can. And I learned that through my cancer, that I had built pretty much a fortress around my brain, and that I knew how to get right back to gratitude, when really honestly I was just feeling really like poor me, or feeling bad about myself, or like just having like some of this victim mentality where I just would be like, nope, because I would have an anchor that would remind me of my friend that's fighting cancer, or an anchor of my children, or whatever, right? And so it's the same with like changing our mindset around like the beliefs about ourselves or our bodies, or, you know, just maybe traits that we haven't liked about ourselves that we find ourselves constantly speaking on. This is where the anchoring will help. However, that's not actually rewiring your system. What is going to rewire your system is going to be the process of actually scripting and putting out these scripts so that the brain has something to chase and focus and change to become. So I would say, hindsight, if I could do it all over again, it would join my Rewired 60 program in school. We're actually going to do it as a group October 1st. So we start as a group October 1st. But you can join it. I mean, now let me just show you. I created this because, just like with the DACs changed my life. But I obviously realized that I was someone that already had a little bit of enough follow through as a baseline, that it created enough momentum in me that I was able to do it. But what happens with the person that honestly they struggle even just to follow through? Like, how do you get through to that person, right? So, in Look Like You Train, if you come down to mindset, there is two sections. There's the regular mindset where the DAC cards are, and then there is Rewired 60. It is 60 lessons. So it's every single day there's a lesson, and it is on purpose, because the way the rewiring works with your brain is massive intention. I'll be honest, once a day is probably not going to do it. If you are already like 30 plus years old, you're pretty much hardwired. Okay. So, like, by the age of 35, you're hardwired. This isn't to like make you feel like, oh man, this sucks. Epigenetics have taught us like, man, we can actually change it. I grew up in an era where they just told us the way your brain was the way your brain was. Like, I didn't know that we could do all this. So we can't see it as a, man, really, it's that hard. You have to see it as, wow, the possibility of actually changing who I am. But it is going to take a lot of intention. I did my rewiring around my fat loss 15 years ago, when I did Tom Venuto's Burn the Fat, Feed the Muscle. It's in my Rewired introduction, where I did his system of writing out my 5 IMs, like, and my goals in future tense. And I'll be honest, and I tell this to clients, I did it like 5 times a day. And I did that for probably about 6 months. Like, I was a psycho, and I say psycho in a positive way, in that I had such bad negative thoughts that he just really ingrained it, that this needed to be the first place I went. So the whole idea behind Rewired 60 is, eventually you're going to see that it's pretty much 3 touch points a day. It starts with like your morning, eventually you're going to have an evening reflection, and then there is a mid-afternoon like touch point that you can have if you are someone like with my cancer. meeting with I used to work with Nicola Pera, and we would get together, and by the afternoon, I would already be like, I would anchor in the morning, I'd do all the work, my meditation, all of it. By 2 in the afternoon, I'd be having a panic attack and my fear of dying and my fear of all this. And so she reminded me, she's like, everybody has a different level of need on the touch point of rewiring. And so for me, I had to start scheduling in a 2 o'clock afternoon walk where I would go out and do more of the scripting, the rehearsal. So I can't do it justice in this call on what I teach in there. But I will say that October 1st, we start collectively in the group. So like if you're in the challenge, I mean, hopefully you end up coming into the group after the 28 days. You'll be able to continue that with us. And it's really just every single day, there is a lesson in here. What I like about doing it collectively is it's the one time that we actually use school. Otherwise, we're always in Look Like You Train over in the Facebook group. But in terms of when we do Rewired 60, I keep two threads going. One for when you're going through days, let me see, days when I used to be pinned. Oh, it's probably pinned at the top. Oh, no, it's not. Well, I'll find it. But anyways, we start new threads, but it's like days 1 through 25 and then days 25 through 60. And you'd be really surprised how amazing it is to, I mean, the collective thoughts, the collective beliefs, we're all very similar as women. So I would say that's where I would start if I was struggling with wiring old mindset. I'd go through that. It then at day 30, actually at day 25, it introduces the DACs. So even if you've done daily agreement cards in the past, and I've talked a lot about it on my podcast, this is kind of a new way of looking at the DACs because I found, again, I'm always trying to get feedback from people. It just started to become a to-do list for people. And I mean, if you're already like a type A OCD, like you don't need another list. Like you don't. What you needed was a way for it to kind of link to your behavior and you'll see, you just start to write things different, you start to see things different. The feedback has been fantastic where everyone that's done Rewired, that's seen it through, it's been the one thing that they say has been the most life-changing, like that it's actually really changed the way that they, think, that they're starting to see the identity shift. Because when you've truly changed your identity, it's no longer a fight to like be that person. It's that you're actually pulled by the identity. It's not you like, oh, gotta do this. It's like walking, for example. Like when you become someone, you say, I am a walker. I am someone that walks. Like this is just something that I do. You will see that when you miss that, it's pulled. Like you're like, oh, I didn't get my walk in versus I have to do it. It's just something I do. It's a means to an end. So you're really trying to slowly build the identity. I think I asked this, it might have been on the 28-day challenge call, but it was like, I always say to clients, like, what would, if I knocked on your door today and I said, you leave the house for the next few hours and I'm going to snoop and look through everything, what clues in your life will show me that you're like health conscious, that you want to be fit? Like, am I going to see running shoes out? Or are they going to be dusted? Is the treadmill like covered with clothing as like a way to hang clothes, or do we use it? Is the fridge? The fridge is always the place I'm going to go first. Like, do we even have prep food, or are we eating like birds? Right? What's the pantry look like? Is all this junk shown to me, or am I seeing sources that I know are going to fuel that person? And when I say that to clients, it makes them pause and go, all right, where do I need to start? And that's all just identity, guys. Like, is your house organized? Because I'll tell you right now, like, and this offends people, and it's kind of like when I got offended at church at Bible study, and I'll tell you that story. And it was a great offense. And it was that sometimes you just got to have the reality check that you'll never keep that the weight that you're chasing to lose, you will never keep it off if you don't change the identity of like who you really are at the core. Like you will constantly go back. And I mean, they've done studies on lottery winners and how many of them end up bankrupt within like 5 years. It doesn't matter how much the amount was because the identity didn't shift with it. I see correlations. If I meet someone that is, maybe morbidly obese, like, 150 pounds plus that they need to lose, I guarantee you they really struggle with money management because they're very similar characteristic traits of learning to delay gratification. Learning that like when you're trying to save up to buy a home, instead of like driving through and eating out every night that week, you're like, I gotta save for the bigger item. Same with fat loss. I gotta say no to this for the bigger goal later. So you start to see that. Like I had a client turn in her first initial starting pictures, and I knew we have a long ways to go. And I mean, oh, she's just one of my favorite clients. And I said to her, I want to have a hard talk with you. That kitchen behind, because she had her kitchen behind her and it was like, it was a big mess. I mean, she said that. And I go, this will change. You will see that over time, as you start to prioritize yourself and honor yourself, you will honor your environment. And the environment is what's going to help you feel better. I mean, I have one-to-one clients that sometimes my homework I give them is like, you got to go organize that. Like that is going to bring calmness into your life. And I already know that you will not keep the fit body if these areas don't get fixed too. Because a fit person, a health conscious person, they're organized with their life. They just are to some degree because that takes intention. Me being here 12 years with this type of cancer, when it spread to my brain last year, then all of a sudden, like University of Central Florida is like, okay, we need to meet this girl. Like we want to talk to her. And really the only difference, I mean, yes, my mindset, I mean, I have massive faith. I have to always give it to that. But in terms of like lifestyle, what people see the biggest difference is I'm just really intentional around this area of my life. I do see this as a piece of the puzzle that I cannot stand when a general practitioner will not even ask you what you are freaking eating. Meanwhile, you're having like depression, like that affects it too. Like you could be a sugarholic, like it's crazy to me that we are not seeing enough power in it. And don't get me wrong, I love my Chick-fil-A. I do have a Celsius drink, you know, but the devil's in the dosing. It's teaching me consistency over time. Like I, of all my 56 meals in the week, I mean, if a couple of them, if one of them's a Krispy Kreme and one of them's my Chick-fil-A, that's not going to be, something that I really beat myself up about. Um, Let me come to the Patty. Yes, Rewire. Oh wait, well, we got a couple of them here too. Rewire definitely changed my life. DACs are daily. I went back to church and overall outlook and habits have changed. Okay, that seriously makes me so happy to read. Yes, Rewire was truly an eye-opener, and having it in school made it a safe space to be open with all that I discovered that was buried. Yes, I remember, Patty, I really appreciated how much you shared there. The inner dialogue and the lifelong habits that were so deeply ingrained. I'm 64 and feel so grateful for the Rewire program to finally see what has been holding me back and weighing me to get down. And I've been able to get unstuck. Oh, that is the whole reason I created that and the whole reason I hope that everyone, does that this next round. So we will be doing it collectively. And if you did it last time, just know I'm always bringing something better. So I've been so fortunate to have Nicola Pera as someone to help me. And so I'm sending her my whole course again and just having her go through it and see where I can just one, probably add a bit more resource to some of these lessons to beef them up for people that aren't used to some of the terminology. And two, just making it better. I want higher success rates. I want everyone to get to the place where Patty gets, where we've done enough days in it, we've gone deep enough with our feelings. And sometimes that might just mean doing it a second time. I know the first time I did any sort of like self-discovery, it was very surface because I just was not aware of how to do that, to be honest. Like I just thought that those were my feelings. So if you do it with us as a group, I will push back on you. As long as you comment and you say things, I will push back in a way of like making you open up more questions to yourself. Because I'm not a therapist but this is one area with the power of epigenetics and the power of this rewiring, you can really finally get to a place that you are the person that you've just been, you are, like, deep down you're that person and you're just so tired of getting stuck. That is the work to do. So let me make sure there's no more questions. And this was so good today because I will say, we're wrapping up. One ask I have, if you watch this live, I don't have information on it just yet, but I will be posting it. So one of our fellow members of Look Like You Train, she was actually a pelvic floor coach that I met outside of Look Like You Train, and then she joined just because we were friends. Her name's Nicole Thorne. She passed away yesterday. She was a close friend of mine. She had colon cancer and it was only a year and a half. And I'll tell you, it was a shock to me because I mean, I just had Chick-fil-A with her 3 weeks ago at her house, and it was a really, really hard battle. But anyways, she's a single mom And her husband left her 2 months before she found out she had terminal cancer. And then they never got back together. It's been a really ugly. And I say all this because I am going to have an ask of our community. And that is that she has a pelvic floor book. I think it's like $13 or $15 on Amazon. We are getting it connected where her daughters are going to get linked to have the funds from that. And I'm going to ask our community that even if you don't have a pelvic floor problem, gift it to someone else, because I'm so heartbroken that she pretty much lost a lot of that cognitive in the last few weeks, and they've really not been able to go through a lot of her finances. And just, ladies, this is where it's like, even just as a reminder of like, just getting your life in order to be able to, take care. I'm just sad for her. I'm so sad for her girls. And so I'll be posting about it because I want to find, she wouldn't have wanted to go fund me. She made that really clear a couple weeks before that. But her daughters are really left with nothing. And the bonus is Nicole, like it was her dream when she got diagnosed. I will say, what a warrior. She wrote this book throughout this last year. So her book launch was actually tomorrow night. We were going to have it at a bookstore here. I mean, the timing of this couldn't have been just more crazy, but she is an expert in pelvic floor. So if you are leaky, the bonus is she's the queen. She is like the expert queen that has fixed, I mean, even like physical therapists and physiotherapists here have her come in. She used to go speak at Goodness Me here. She was just incredible. So it will be a bonus for anyone, but I'll be sharing that. But I wanted to share that live because that was just heavy on my heart today. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for staying the full hour. I believe I got all the questions. If I didn't, I definitely want to make sure that I answer them. And if I need to put back a video, I think one more. I asked before and never could find the answer, but I was in the last group, and the calories I'm eating are based on the starting weight of that June Look Like You Train. Should I be continuing to use that meal plan based on that weight? Well, hopefully it becomes your meal plan. And once it's your meal plan, you adjust from there. However, if you've made no changes to it and you've not customized it to you, I mean, your current weight, you could go and just download the new template and start to customize that based on your current weight. But if you've already done that to yours, then yes, you would need to make that adjustment based on, your current weight. If it's enough, if it's a significant amount, if it's not more than like 3 to 4 pounds, it's not going to be that much different. But yeah, if you've dropped 10 pounds since last time, then you actually want to then either take your current one and make adjustments, and that's why it's, when you guys come to the calls, we'll help you give the exact amounts, because I'll know what template, like I would be able to ask Holly, hey, what template are you following? How much do you currently weigh? And then I can even say to you, hey, go follow this one. What's your goal? Is your goal to get tighter? Are you trying to reverse right now? Like there's so many things that we can help with you. So that is it, ladies. Little over 2 o'clock, but hopefully all your questions were answered, and hopefully I will send out a download to the meal plan, that little meal planner, the weekly meal planner. You'll be able to make your own copy. Challenge yourself to do it. Like it might feel a little bit overwhelming if you're not used to doing your full week, but once it's done, or make your kids, get some meal cards out and say to your kids, choose them for me. So have a great one. Take care.